Hey everybody, and welcome to another deep dive with us. Today we are going like super deep into the world of meditation, but not in the way you might be expecting.
Yeah.
We are going to unpack some common misconceptions about this whole practice, and honestly, I think you might be pretty surprised by what we find.
Yeah.
Our source for this deep dive is this talk, and it's called Meditation What It Is Not. And
Oh.
already it's like, oh, making me rethink some things.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing how much misinformation is out there. Like people,
Mhm.
they really think it's about emptying your mind.
Yeah.
Like totally.
Right.
But it's not really the case.
It's like we've been like sold this idea that meditation is about like achieving some kind of blissful state, thought-free.
Right.
But our source makes a really interesting point right off the bat, which is that meditation is actually about relaxation and not concentration.
I think that's the crucial distinction.
Hmm.
Yeah. When we try to like force our minds to be quiet, we actually create tension. It's almost like you're trying to hold a slippery bar of soap. The harder you grip
Because
it,
that's going to squirt out.
the more it wants to fly away. Right.
Yeah.
But when we kind of approach meditation with an attitude of relaxation,
Mhm.
we allow ourselves to just be present
Oh, okay.
with whatever arises in our experience.
Okay.
It's really in that letting go
Mm.
that we can open ourselves up to something much deeper.
So it's like we've been trying to force this square peg in a round hole
Yeah, exactly.
this whole time.
Yeah,
What if, instead of fighting against our thoughts, we just allowed them to be there without judgment?
exactly. And that ties into this whole idea of non-doing,
Yeah.
which our source talks about quite extensively, actually.
Okay.
It's not about achieving a certain state of mind, but more about cultivating an attitude of like openness, receptivity almost.
Okay, so being receptive.
Yeah. Imagine yourself as like a rock with openings,
Okay.
almost allowing existence to flow through you,
Oh, yeah.
rather than being a tightly closed fist, like
Right.
trying to block everything out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a really powerful image.
Yeah.
And it leads us to another point that really challenges this traditional view of meditation, right?
Right.
Instead of shutting out the world, it's about embracing it.
Exactly.
Our source actually describes it so vividly, talking about like listening to sounds,
Right.
experiencing the arrival of God in all these different forms, like a bird singing,
Yeah.
a dog barking, a child laughing, even the chaos of like a madman's ramblings.
It's about recognizing that everything is really interconnected. The sun, the trees, the birds, our own existence. It's all part of this larger web of life.
Yeah.
And when we deny or resist any part of that web, we create, tension within ourselves.
So instead of trying to create this artificial bubble of peace and quiet, we're actually like expanding our awareness to include everything, even the messy, unpredictable parts of life.
Precisely, yeah. It's about finding peace within the chaos, not escaping from it.
This reminds me of something that, I struggle with in my own, attempts at meditation, which is I often get frustrated when my mind starts racing with thoughts,
Yeah,
like I'm doing it wrong,
right.
But what if those thoughts are just part of the experience?
Yeah.
Is there a way to embrace even those like quote unquote immoral thoughts without judgment?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where the concept of watching comes in.
Oh, okay.
But before we kind of dive into that,
Right.
let's take a look at another misconception that can really trip us up,
Okay.
which are expectations.
Oh, expectations. Yeah.
The speaker calls it absolutely unreasonable to expect specific results from meditation.
Yeah, I think we all kind of fall into that trap, right?
Oh.
We expect meditation to, magically fix all of our problems or to like instantly transport us to this state of bliss.
Right.
And when that doesn't happen, we get discouraged.
It's like expecting a miracle hair growth potion
Right.
to work overnight.
Yeah.
The source tells this funny anecdote about this guy named Nanahan, who does just that, and of course he ends up disappointed.
Oh, I remember that story.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's like
But it makes a really good point,
it does.
which is that, we can't approach meditation with this shopping list of like desired outcomes.
Right.
It's about letting go of our expectations
Yeah.
and surrendering to the present moment, however that is.
Exactly, yeah. Meditation is about allowing, not controlling.
Mm.
It's about recognizing that we can't force our minds to be quiet, just like we can't force a flower to bloom
Right.
before it's time.
So if we're not trying to empty our minds or like achieve certain specific results, what are we actually doing when we meditate? this idea of watching without judgment. I have to admit, it's a little bit of a mystery to me. Can you maybe shed some light on that?
Yeah, it's a fascinating concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
Watching is really about cultivating a sense of awareness,
Hmm.
almost like stepping back from your thoughts and observing them as if they were clouds passing by in the sky.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to get a visual here,
Okay.
but I have to admit, it still feels a bit abstract. Is it really possible to separate ourselves from our thoughts like that?
It might feel strange at first, but with practice, you can develop this ability to kind of like observe your thoughts without getting like caught up in them.
Okay.
And here's where I kind of want to address you, the listener,
Mhm.
directly. Don't worry if you find yourself having like all sorts of thoughts during meditation,
Oh, okay.
even those you might consider like immoral or like unacceptable.
Hmm.
It's perfectly normal.
Okay.
The key is to simply acknowledge them without judgment.
So it's like saying, oh, there's that thought again, but not getting all tangled up in it like we usually do.
Exactly. It's like watching a movie, You can be aware of the characters in the plot without
Yeah.
becoming emotionally invested in them.
Yeah.
The same kind of applies to your thoughts. You can observe them without identifying with them or letting them, dictate your state of mind.
So I'm trying to wrap my head around this.
Yeah.
If we're not supposed to judge our thoughts, how do we deal with the ones that are, particularly sticky?
Yeah.
The ones that keep like looping over and over in our minds?
Yeah. That's where the practice of non-doing comes into play again.
Oh, okay.
Remember that analogy of the rock with openings?
Yes.
Instead of trying to force those thoughts away, we gently allow them to be there,
Oh, okay.
to flow through us without resistance.
So it's like acknowledging that a storm is happening,
Yeah.
but choosing not to get, swept away by its winds.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Thanks.
We're finding that inner stillness, that calm center amidst the storm of our thoughts. And the more we practice this watching, the more space we create between ourselves and our thoughts.
It sounds almost like we're creating like a buffer zone,
Yes.
a place where we can observe our thoughts without getting completely overwhelmed by them.
Precisely. And as we cultivate this awareness, something really, really interesting starts to happen.
Okay.
We begin to realize that we are not our thoughts.
Hmm.
We are the observer, the witness, the vast expanse of consciousness that,
Oh, whoa.
holds all those thoughts and feelings.
That's pretty mind-blowing. It's like
Yeah.
we're expanding our sense of self
Yeah.
beyond the limitations of our thoughts.
And that's where the true magic of meditation lies.
Yeah.
It's not just about relaxation or, stress reduction. Those are certainly valuable benefits, right?
Right.
It's about awakening to a deeper dimension of ourselves,
Hmm.
a dimension of peace, wisdom, and interconnectedness.
Yeah. This is all starting to make a lot more sense now. I can see how letting go of those misconceptions can really open us up to a whole new way of experiencing meditation.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great segue
Okay.
into the next part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
because once we've kind of cleared away these misconceptions,
Okay.
we can start to explore the practical side
Right.
of meditation.
Yes. I'm curious to hear more about how we can actually put all of this into practice.
Well, stay tuned, folks, because we are about to dive into the nitty-gritty of establishing a regular meditation practice.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling you'll be surprised by how simple and accessible it can be.
Okay, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the deep dive. So we've spent the last part of this deep dive debunking some common misconceptions about meditation, but I'm curious, where do we actually go from here? How do we take all of this fascinating information and turn it into a tangible practice?
That's the million-dollar question.
All right.
Right. And, it's something that a lot of people struggle with. They hear about all the benefits of meditation.
Right.
And they're eager to get started, but then they hit a wall.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can feel kind of overwhelming to know where to begin, especially when you're bombarded with so many different techniques and approaches.
I feel that just searching meditation online can send you down a rabbit hole of guided meditations, apps, courses, and retreats.
Exactly.
It's enough to make anyone's head spin.
Exactly. But here's the good news. At its core, meditation is incredibly simple.
Okay.
You don't need any fancy equipment or special clothing or a secluded mountaintop retreat or anything like that.
Right.
All you really need is a willingness to sit down,
Okay.
close your eyes,
Yeah.
and observe your own mind.
That sounds refreshingly straightforward. But
Yeah.
for those of us who are, new to this or maybe haven't had much success in the past, do you have any tips for like getting started?
Absolutely, yeah.
Hmm.
One of the most common mistakes that people make is trying to, like, force their minds to be completely quiet.
Oh, okay.
Remember, that's not the goal.
Yeah.
Instead, simply try to bring a gentle awareness to your breath.
Okay.
Now, notice the sensation of each inhale
Right.
and each exhale.
Hmm.
It's a simple anchor that can help you stay present in the moment.
Ah, the breath. It's like our built-in reset button.
Right.
It's always there, waiting to kind of guide us back to center.
Yeah.
But what about all those different types of meditation you hear about, Like mindfulness, loving kindness, transcendental, and so on. Is
Right.
there one that's like better than the others?
That's a great question. And, there's really no right or wrong answer.
Okay.
It's all about finding what resonates with you
Yeah.
personally. Some people find guided meditations helpful, while others prefer to sit in silence.
Right.
Some are drawn to practices that focus on, like, cultivating compassion,
Yeah.
while others are more interested in exploring, like, the nature of consciousness.
Mm.
The key is to experiment and see what feels right for you.
I love that. No pressure.
Yeah.
Just exploration. But I have to admit, one thing I always struggle with is consistency.
Right.
I'll start a meditation practice with the best of intentions, but then life gets in the way and I fall off track.
Yeah.
Any advice for sticking with it?
That's a challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's no magic bullet.
Okay.
But one thing that can be helpful is to set realistic expectations.
Okay. Yeah.
Start small, maybe just 5 or 10 minutes a day,
Okay.
and gradually increase the duration as you feel more comfortable.
So it's like building any new habit,
Right.
starting small and gradually building up from there.
Exactly. Yeah. And don't get discouraged if you miss a day or two.
Yeah.
It happens to everyone.
Yeah.
Just gently guide yourself back to your practice whenever you can. Remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
I think that's such an important point.
Yeah.
We often approach meditation with this like all or nothing mentality.
Yeah.
And when we inevitably slip up, we feel like we've failed.
Right.
But it's really about showing up with curiosity and compassion, reading ourselves wherever we are on that particular day.
Beautifully said. And ultimately, that's what this whole deep dive has been about.
Yeah.
Letting go of rigid expectations and embracing a more, like, open and accepting approach to meditation.
Right.
It's not about achieving some kind of perfect state of mind, but about cultivating, like, deeper awareness of ourselves and the world around us.
And who knows, maybe in that process, we might even uncover some unexpected treasures along the way.
Absolutely.
Well, folks, it looks like we've reached the end of our deep dive into meditation misconceptions. We hope you've gained some valuable insights.
Yeah.
And maybe even a little inspiration to, like, start or deepen your own meditation practice.
And remember, the journey is just beginning.
Ooh, I like that.
There's a whole universe waiting to be explored within the depths of your own mind.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
We'll catch you next time for another fascinating exploration of the world of ideas.
Yeah. See you next time.
Until then, keep diving deep and keep exploring. Welcome back to the deep dive. So we spent the last 2 parts of this deep dive, talking about all these misconceptions about meditation. But I'm curious, where do we actually go from here? Like, how do we take all of this, like, fascinating information we've talked about and turn it into an actual practice?
Yeah, that's the real question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so many people, they struggle with that. They hear about all the benefits and they're like, "Oh yeah, I want to get started." And then
Yeah.
it's like they hit a wall. It can feel pretty overwhelming to know where to even begin, especially when we're, like, bombarded with all these different techniques and approaches. And
I feel that just searching meditation online, it's like, oh my gosh, there's guided meditations, there's apps, there's courses, there's retreats. It's enough to make anyone's head spin.
it really is. It's a lot. But here's the good news. At its core, meditation is really simple.
Okay.
You don't need any fancy equipment or special clothing or, like, a secluded mountaintop retreat to do it.
Right.
All you really need is a willingness to just kind of sit down,
Okay.
close your eyes,
Yeah.
and observe your own mind.
That sounds pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it is.
But for those of us who are kind of, new to this or maybe haven't had a lot of success with this in the past, do you have any tips for getting started?
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make is trying to force their mind to be completely quiet.
Okay. Yeah.
And remember, that's not the goal.
Right.
Instead, just try to bring like a gentle awareness to your breath.
Okay.
Notice the sensation of each inhale and each exhale.
Right.
It's like a simple anchor that can help you stay present in the moment.
Ah, the breath. It's like our built-in like reset button.
Exactly.
It's always there, waiting to guide us back
It's always
to
there.
center.
Yeah.
But what about all these different types of meditation you hear about? Mindfulness, loving kindness, transcendental, all these.
Oh, yeah.
Is there one that's like better than the others?
That's a great question. And there's really no right or wrong answer.
Okay.
It's all about finding what resonates with you personally.
Okay.
Some people find guided meditations helpful,
Uh-huh.
while others prefer to just sit in silence.
Yeah.
Some are drawn to practices that focus on, like, cultivating compassion,
Yeah.
while others are more interested in exploring the nature of consciousness.
Right.
The key is to experiment
Mm.
and see what feels right for you.
I love that. No pressure. Yeah.
Just exploration. But I have to admit, one thing I always struggle with is consistency.
Right.
I start a meditation practice with, like, the best of intentions,
Yeah.
and then inevitably life gets in the way and I fall off track.
It happens.
Any advice for sticking with it?
Oh, that's a challenge for a lot of people. And
Yeah.
honestly, there's no like magic bullet.
Okay.
But one thing that can be really helpful is to set realistic expectations.
Okay.
Start small, maybe just 5 or 10 minutes a day,
Okay.
and gradually increase the duration as you feel more comfortable.
So it's like building any habit,
Right.
starting small and kind of building from there.
Exactly. Yeah. And don't get discouraged if you miss a day or two.
Right.
It happens to everybody.
Yes, yeah.
Just gently guide yourself back to your practice whenever you can.
Right.
Remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
I think that's such an important point. We often approach meditation with this all or nothing mentality.
And when we inevitably, slip up, we feel like we failed. But
Yeah.
it's really about showing up with curiosity and compassion,
Yeah.
meeting ourselves wherever we are on that day.
Beautifully said. And ultimately, I think that's what this whole deep dive has been about.
Yeah.
Letting go of rigid expectations
Mm-hmm.
and embracing a more open and accepting approach to meditation.
Right.
It's not about achieving some kind of perfect state of mind, but like cultivating a deeper awareness of ourselves and the world around us.
And who knows, maybe in that process, we might even uncover some unexpected treasures along the way.
Exactly.
Well, folks, it looks like we've reached the end of our deep dive into meditation misconceptions. We hope you gained some valuable insights from this and maybe even a little inspiration to like start or deepen your own meditation practice.
And remember, the journey is just beginning. There's a whole universe waiting to be explored within the depths of your own mind.
I love that. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time for another fascinating exploration into the world of ideas. Until then, keep diving deep and keep exploring.
Please like, share and subscribe.